Hi, it's Gadget UK here again. I just thought I'd show unboxing this and a new system, and we'll strip it down and have a look inside and see if we can work out what's wrong with it. So if you just bear with me, let's get the knife onto here. I'm going to try and do this without going through. It's not the easiest thing. It's a film, I don't think. Go, so pull that back. Quite excited to see this system. This is a system I've been waiting for or waiting to get for an awful long time, and I finally decided to go for this after Odemir constantly nagging me that I needed to get one of these, and he's right. Oh, this is what I think it is. I'll soon find out. Good grief, this is hard to open. It's got some really, really thick tape. It's not like your usual brown tape you get on these things. I'm guessing this is what I think it is, and it's not something completely different. Otherwise this video might not get uploaded. Could be something for my wife or something, a pair of shoes or something, or lots of pairs of shoes I think it would need to be. But hopefully not. It's reasonably well packaged. Good grief, this tape is really thick stuff. So, you can see here we've got an RF adapter. I'm not going to be using that unless I need to start with to get going. Just open this up, and as you can see, hopefully that's a clue. I have a NES controller, 2 NES controllers, so these will probably need cleaning up. Testing, there might be some fixes required on those, I've got no idea. There are 2 of them, which is really cool, and they're in pretty good condition really, bit of dirt and stuff on there, but yeah, pleased with those. And what looks like a power supply, which I'm pleasantly surprised at. Wow, I didn't think there was a power supply with it. That is really cool. And as you can see, it's an NES, so let's get this out. Oh, that's small, it's so small, I don't know why. I was expecting this to be much bigger. I mean, it needs cleaning, but the condition's excellent. It really is. There's barely a mark on it. Really. It looks like it's got composite as well. That goes against everything I've been told. Someone's saying, oh, you can't do a composite mod to one of these. I don't even need to do one. It has a composite output already, which is really cool. You get your RF, power. But this is in really, really good condition. I'm very impressed. That's interesting. Nintendo UK Entertainment Limited. Wonder who they are. Third party, company or something, or were they actually affiliated with Nintendo? Nintendo UK Entertainment Limited. Doesn't sound like Nintendo, but maybe it is. I ain't got a clue. But this is in really good condition. Doesn't look like anyone's been in this before either. Famous last words, but it seriously doesn't. And this is one of these ones that's given a red screen. Not red screen, a flashing red light, which is your CIC lockout chip usually. Well, it's related to the actual car connections inside there. You can see that. Bent pins and things, and typically needs a clean. Hopefully that's all that's wrong and there's not something further wrong with this. Anyway, we'll whip the lid off now and have a look inside. So to get in there, I'm guessing it's just going to be turning it upside down, and you've got these, screws at various points here. I think there's like 6 by the looks of things that need removing, so let's get those out now. So once you've got those screws out there, the lid comes off really easy. You just basically just lift it off, 6 screws, and just lift that straight up. This is super clean. I can't get over how good condition this is. This is like super sexy. I'm really, really impressed with this. It's pretty tidy inside as well, there isn't much dust and dirt and stuff needs cleaning out this. So I guess the next port call here is the shielding. So we'll just get these screws out now and see if we can have a look at the cart slot. So just getting on to the last few screws here on the shielding. This is a super sexy console, it really is. I'm going to be saying the similar sort of thing all the way through this video really. I've always wanted one of these, never had one. But this is kind of a special system for me, in the sense that I've got a bit of a nostalgia for it, despite never having one. And that is because about 10 years ago, I think it was approximately, I wrote a NES emulator. It was my first. I wanted to get into emulators and writing emulators and understanding a bit more about microprocessor architecture. And at that time, I was studying with the Open University on a microprocessor architecture course there. Did a whole module on that, just specialised in that. And that was really interesting and useful. And at the same time, at the exact same time, I was writing a NES emulator in Delphi, using Delphi 4, using DirectX 7, I think it was. And it was just a really fun experience. I've got fond memories of playing around with, 6502 code and trying to fix various bugs with various games as I started to work my way through some of the different mappers and implement some of the different mappers. I never fully implemented sound on the public release of that emulator. When I wrote that, the sound was one of the very last things I came to look at. Whilst I got it working, it was really it was in a prototype state, really, the sound side. It was really fuzzy, crackly sound implementation that I managed there. I know what was wrong with it. I don't want to get into the technicalities now, but I just lost interest at the time. I don't know, I got pulled in other directions, doing other things and things. But I've just got really fond memories, like I say, of tinkering around with the internals, understanding the internals of the NES and the CPU and the PPU and the APU, and it was just really a fun part of my history, if you like, an interesting part of my life that I'll always have fond memories of. And if anything, it actually got me to using DirectX. I'd never used DirectX up until that point, so from there on I started creating a few graphics demos and games and things using Draw, which was interesting. So yeah, this is why for me this is kind of something that I've been wanting to do for an awful long time. Actually get my hands on some physical hardware of the NES to match my understanding of the logical side of things, of how it operates. And if you're not aware, these things have got a 6502 in there. I think they run at about 1 megahertz. Could be wrong. It's been a while since I've looked at these. And you got something like 2K. Is it 2K of RAM? It might be 8K of RAM. I don't know. They're very limited, these, in terms of the resources available. I'm not sure which screws to take out here. I've got the feeling it might be both of those, actually. I'm not sure. I think those ones hold it onto the post at the bottom, the silver ones. But anyway, yeah, they're very limited. You've got the PPU, which is the picture processing unit that handles all your graphics. It's your graphics chip, effectively, in the NES. And that's memory mapped to 2000 hex address, if memory serves. And you've got registers there to do with controlling, like, I think, scrolling. From what I remember, you can change the background colour and whether it's translucent or not. You've got typically two types of ROM in those carts. You've got the character ROM for your graphics and things, and then you've got the program ROM, contains all your code and stuff. All sort of memory mapped within the 6502 address space. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's a NES address space, but I think it's a fully memory mapped system from what I remember. Everything's memory mapped. And you've got the sound. Coming back to the CPU, yeah, it's a 6502 CPU, but it's custom in the sense that you have what's called the APU. Is it PAPU? Yeah, it's PAPU, which is a pseudo audio processing unit, which is basically, I think you've got, is it 3? I forget if it's 3 or 4 channels, it might be 4. So either 3 or 4 channels. I should have checked, really. It's been a long time since I looked at my original emulator code, and can't quite remember. But you've got the sound generating hardware built into the CPU chip there, the actual physically on the die or something, which is interesting. I'm not sure when this is going to come out. Got to remove all the shielding here over yet. Yeah, got another screw over here. You might be wondering why I'm not powering this up to start with, and that's just because I always like to check everything out, really, see what condition, where I can, see what condition caps and things are in, see if there's any corrosion anywhere, see if anyone's been tinkering. I mean, just the way these screws are quite hard to get out, and I can tell these have not been touched, no one has been inside this, and the cart slot looks in remarkable condition, if I'm completely honest. So there we go, taking off that part of the assembly. And I think I could probably just pull this back now, can I? Yeah. Yeah, look at that, that's never been tinkered with. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know, I'm starting to wonder if this is an aftermarket one, maybe this, but it does look like no one's been in this, so no, I'm guessing this is original. But if you look how straight those pins are, they really are. They're in excellent condition, absolutely excellent condition. If anything, it's probably the carts that have been plugged into this that needed a clean. Maybe the actual connector edges there just need a bit of a clean. But or they might just need slightly bending back into position a little bit from, you know, use and stuff. But yeah, I'm really pleased. Let's just have a quick look at the board here. I'll try and zoom in. Not sure how close I'm going to be able to get. I might have a go on macro or something in a minute. We'll just see if we can go a bit closer than that, perhaps. Yeah, that's probably about as good as we're going to get. So yeah, it's looking a bit, from where I am here, it's looking a bit like there's one or two dry solder points there. I can't really tell. It's not the easiest thing to tell on this light. At this time of the year here in the UK, it's dark pretty much all day long, really, unless you've got a cloud-free day, and today just happens to be one of those days where it's like really dull and grey outside. Really nice, really sweet. This is really sexy. Pleased with this. So, you know, you'll have seen some of these things on other videos before, but I mean, it's obvious, really. I'll point some obvious things out here. You know, you've got your power switch and your reset switch down here on a separate assembly with a little power LED. Sorry, just off camera. And it's connected via this cable, which comes all the way down here. Probably goes, I think it probably joins under here somewhere, perhaps. Could be wrong. No, it looks that way. Or maybe not, actually. Might be that big blue one. There, not sure. But then you've got your two controller ports as well, and there's connected by separate connectors. One's there. Yeah, that's right. I was wrong when I said that one. It's not. One controller on one side, one controller on the other. Not sure which one's player one, which one's player two. And obviously they're just linked to the ports on the front there. So you can actually take that out and replace that if you get any problems with the ports and things. And then the other thing worth pointing out here is you have a combined power and modulator unit here, and I guess modulator, well, it's not just the modulation, I guess you've got the input from that goes into the modulator coming out as well, so you've got composite coming out of this unit, but you also have this Volt 7, it's a 7805, as you'll have seen in previous videos where we've looked at things like the Spectrum and the Commodore 64, and you get the 7805 in pretty much all those old systems, you know. Sorry, I'm off camera. The you know, including the Sega Mega Drive, and Amstrads, you know, many of those systems they rely on a 7805. Sometimes it's an LM 7805. That one's probably an LM 7805. So that provides you 5 volts. You've got a big heatsink there screwed onto, so it's worth making sure that's firmly attached to that chip there, because obviously it gets quite hot. And I guess that, whilst we're on the subject of the voltage regulator and the power for these, the input jack, as far as I remember, I think it's AC from what I remember, from what I've read. Let's just have a quick look now. If we have a look at this, what have we got? God, this is going to be hard to read. You might not be able to see this. I'll try and read it. Yeah, output AC 9 volts. So it is, as I said, it's AC. You have AC going in. But from what I understand, well, what you can do, from what I understand, is you can connect just a bit more than 9 volts. So if you take, say, a Sega Mega Drive power supply, it's 10 volts. You need to check the polarity, but from what I understand, they're probably right, and I think you could probably just plug it in, it'll probably work. But when you're doing that, instead of putting 9 volts AC and you're putting 10 volts DC in, the rectification still takes place, so that's why it will probably still work. Well, it will still work, it's not a case of probable, they definitely will with a DC supply. But your 7805 is going to have 1 volt more than it's, you know, this has actually been sort of specified to handle. So instead of 9 volts, you've got 10 volts coming in, which means more thermal dissipation there. You know, it's going to generate more heat as a result. So that's important to note, that whilst those 7805s, they're usually rated somewhere between, I think it's 8 volts and 35 volts. You'll find if you look at the specs for them. you know, you'd be mad if you decided to put 15 or 20 volts into here, because that's the only power supply you've got. You'd be crackers to do that, because whilst it probably worked for a short period of time, this heatsink would be getting extremely hot as the majority of that voltage gets converted into heat in part of the, you know, the process there. So that's worth noting. You know, you really do want a 9 volt AC power supply for this, but a 9 volt DC power supply will work. So that's interesting. I'm not sure if this board will come out at this stage. It probably will actually. We'll just lift it. I'll just try and get this out. I'll just zoom out just so you can get a slightly better angle of this. It's going to get caught by the wires and things, but I think all of the screws are out, so we might just be able to just turn it a little bit, maybe pull the shielding off the bottom there, hopefully. Yeah, it seems to be, it's held in place so you can see by that connector there. So that's the reset power switch, I think. How the hell does that come off there? I'm not even gonna get that off there, I don't think, without damaging something. So we'll just see if I can just move this back a bit like that, because I'm not that bothered about stripping this entirely down, because as I've shown, it's in very, very good condition. So I'm not going to know what these are now, because when I've been referring to that, when I've been working on this from an emulator side of things, it's a whole different ball game. And these chips are marked with the Nintendo part numbers and stuff. You've got. See if we can get around the right way here, just so you can see this. But if we have a look at this chip here, you can see that it's RP2C07A-O, it looks like. That does say NES CPU, so yeah. No, that's not the CPU, I think that's the PPU. Because if you look over here, you've got RP2A07A. God, these codes are really mysterious to me. Yeah, that says 2AM2W and that says 2CM30. I ain't got a clue, but that does say CPU on the silk screen there. You're perhaps not going to be able to see that. I'll just turn this round a bit and we'll get a better angle here, so just zoom in a bit and you can have a bit more of a detailed look, because I'm that excited, like a kid opening a present on Christmas Day here, that I'm just not focusing any quality time or thought really into how I'm presenting this. So yeah, there we go. So that, I think, is the CPU, because if you just look there on the silk screen, it does say CPU. We've got a 74, what's that? I can't see it from here. LS139N, I think it is. Is that a Demux or something? I can't remember off the top of my head. And then up here, we've got a couple more 74 logic chips. A 74 HC368N and a 74 HC368N. No idea what those are. That's interesting. I'll have to look those up later. Some resistor packs or something over here, or capacitor packs, I'm not sure, can't really see from where I am. Another 7.4 logic chip down here in this corner, sorry, just off camera, just there. A 7.4 HC04, is that a NOT gate, I think. That's your CIC chip. Just move down a tiny touch. So yeah, there's your CIC chip. And if you're not aware with the CIC chip, you get that there's a CIC chip on all the carts. Well, it should be on all the carts. I think it probably is. And one of them acts as a master, one of them acts as a slave kind of thing, or a key and a lock, if you like. I think it's pin 4. The mod you can do to this is if you cut pin 4 and put ground into the chip on pin 4, you effectively change the behaviour of this chip. Instead of it being a lock, it turns into a key. So it behaves in the same way as the chip on the cart. And the way these are supposed to work, once you connect your cart up to the system, they communicate, and when this is behaving as a lock, it's expecting, it transmits various things to the cart, so the CIC chip on the cart, and the cart transmits things back at the same time, in real time, to the CIC chip on here. And because one's acting as a key, one's acting as a lock, each of them knows what the other one's supposed to be doing in terms of what they're transmitting and what it should be receiving. So it can, if the two don't match, if the data doesn't match, what this is receiving is not what it's supposed to be expecting as a lock, then it will invoke a reset. Interesting thing with this, because this is not sort of dealt with, if you like, in terms of an emulation side of things. So when I looked at the emulator, there's no reference anywhere to the in the schematics and things, and the stuff that Marat Fazulin did when he sort of reverse engineered the NES, and I guess that's for obvious reasons, because there's no relevance there. It's just absolutely irrelevant. I suspect that this chip is doing no more than what I've just described, where you've got the the synchronization going on there between this chip and on the car, and should there be a problem, it just resets the puts a high on the reset or something, or pulls the reset line low. I'm not sure how that works, whether it's a high or a low that's required there to reset. But my theory, I was thinking about this last night, you could probably just remove this chip and it would probably just work. I don't see why it wouldn't work without a CIC chip, unless this is solely responsible for handling the reset as well. So if you've not got this, you ain't got a reset. So I guess you could probably just replace that with a PIC chip, or even just a GAL, or maybe not a GAL, a PIC chip or something, or a little bit of breadboard with a 555 timer or something, and just set your own reset circuitry up there just to give it the initial reset. And you probably don't even need that at all. You could probably get away with it. But the typical mod that you'll have seen on many other videos and on guides and things is, as I said, to cut or lift pin 4 and puts a low ground into pin 4 on the chip itself, so it's not connected to the board, and that should stop it from causing any problems with lockouts. It's interesting that a lot of people say with the flashing red light fix, that's what you've got to do, but actually it's kind of not really. As far as I can see, you don't really get any problems with the CIC chip. It's just the fact that the CIC chip kicks in and does that reset loop because of lack of connectivity on the cart port here. So there's two issues there. Doing this mod's not going to fix your red light issue entirely. You would need to do some fix work to clean up your slot and stuff. Interesting thing is, I'm pointing to this slot here when I'm talking about the cartridge slot, but that's not actually the cartridge slot, that's the expansion slot that sits underneath. You can probably just see it if I just move so slightly better angle here. You see that plastic recess there with clips, that comes out, and that obviously just fits underneath. Not sure whether there are any expansion devices or anything that made use of that. Be interested to know if you know of any. Maybe the Rob thing or whatever it is, the little robot thing, maybe that used that. Ain't got a clue, if I'm completely honest. This is mega exciting. I'm really pleased to have got this. So all I'm going to do now is just clean up that cart edge, both top and bottom. Clean up the cart slot. I'll get a piece of thin card. Sorry, I'm pointing the wrong place. Piece of thin card with some isopropyl on it into the slot there, and just slide it in and out a few times. Just try and clean it up, and then I'll just lightly reassemble it. I won't put the lid back on, but we'll just give it a go. I'll connect it all up. We'll try and connect the composite, connect the controller, and let's see what happens after a bit of a light clean. So I just got some isopropyl here and a bit of kitchen roll, and we'll just give this bit of a wipe down both top and bottom. It's look at that. So it looks clean, but you get oxidization building up on these things over the years. Even though this particular edge here has not been it's not had any use, you don't push anything in and out of this is constantly connected, you still get like that layer of oxidization, which you can see has come off there. So that's looking a lot better. I'll just do the same thing on the underneath of that. I should take this out really and then just inspect it, but I'm not that bothered. It's going to be alright doing this, and this isn't where the main focus needs to be really on this. Just for the moment, I'm going to leave the lockout chip as it is. I've got a couple of carts here, I'll just show you, and we'll test these. And I've got an American one, so I've got a Duck Hunt, combined Duck Hunt and Mario Bros there, so I'm looking forward to playing that. A Duck Hunt I'm not going to be able to do anything with. I ain't got a CRT to hand anyway at the moment, and I've not got the zapper, so that's going to be, I don't know. I don't think you can play that with control, you need a zapper. Tennis. This is pretty crap. It's okay, but the reason I got this was the first game I got working on my emulator, so that's a sentimental one for me. It's funny, isn't it? A strange sentimental way of me wanting to get that particular game. And the Marble Madness, I was always a fan of this on pretty much every platform there is out there. It's quite good on the NES. I like the music and stuff on the NES. This is an American version, so I'm fully expecting that without the Lockout mod, this is going to do nothing. From the looks of things, it's exactly the same car. You've got the same number of pins and things there that you can see, so there's no issues there. From what I understand, the Japanese carts are a bit different. They're 60 pin or something as opposed to 72. Post some comments down below if you know anything about that. I'd be interested to know if that is the case. It's just something I've never really looked at until recently. So anyway, I'll clean this up with a bit of card now. Just like I say, I might even just use a bit of paper. I'll just show you, just bear with me, I'll get some paper and fold it up and show you what I'm going to do. So apologies, the light's not very good in here. it's a case of just getting some isopropyl. So, you know, alcohol, IPA, call it what you want. Yeah, I've got some isopropyl on a cloth, and I'm just going to, if you see this, I've folded some paper like this, just to get it the right thickness. So that's completely soaked on both sides. And then in the actual slot here, that I think that's it's the top one, that's where the card goes in. I just slide that in and out like that, and it's barely, it's not like wedged in there at the moment. This is just, you know, it's just enough, so I like to just go up and down like this, and I can see straight away actually there's barely anything coming off this. This card slot looks brand new to me, so there's either something wrong with this system, maybe they're just a bit bent, or more likely than not it's actually a problem with the carts that we used to test this, which wouldn't surprise me in the least, because those are copper, usually the copper tracks. These aren't copper, they look like steel or something. I ain't got a clue what they are, but they're not copper or brass, or, well, not brass, but they're not copper coated. And I think the copper ones tend to get more oxidisation and dirt. I don't know why that is. It's just if anybody knows a bit more about metallurgy out there who might be able to explain the differences and why that might be. But yeah, that's looking alright, you know, the straight. Yeah, I don't think anything needs to be done to that, so just going to quickly just reassemble that now in a sort of, you know, without putting the main lid on, and we'll give it a try. So as you can see, just got it, I've got a couple of carts. Can you see how that flips up? And that's because obviously it needs the fitting, you know, the plastic thing to hold it in. Just got a couple of carts holding that in there, and I did just power it on, and if you don't do that, the red light flashes. With those on, the red light doesn't flash, so I'm guessing that it's probably working. I've connected my Amiga composite lead there, so we'll just connect this, and let's just have a see what we get on the screen. So I'll put it onto the side and then switch it on. So switching it on now, and see what happens. There we go, duck hunt. So that's looking pretty good, really, considering that's composite. See if we get any sound. Let's go Super Mario, I think. Yeah, we've got sound, that's a good sign. Oh, sweet. And the controller works as well. This is awesome. I've had to do next to nothing to that, and the cart slot there is it's just in perfect, it's like brand new condition, it's like it's never been used. It didn't need anything doing to it really, the pins are perfectly straight. I couldn't be happier, this is just like the best NES I could have got really. The composite, you know, it leaves a bit to be desired there, it's a little bit wavy and stuff. I suspect I might be able to tidy it up with a recap. There might be a couple of caps in the modulator there that I can just swap out, and hopefully it'll give me a bit better display there. But yeah, overall, really pleased with this. Let's just give one of the other games a try. Same thing, put the other carts on top, just hold it down. Bear in mind these carts haven't been cleaned. So yeah, that's doing a reset, isn't it, I think. But I fully expect that this is the cart rather than the system. Could do with just getting a cotton bud with some isopropyl or something onto that. We'll give it a try, see if that does anything. We're almost there. We can see the title screen, switch it off again. Just give it one more go. Let me just stick a cotton bud in there, and I'll be right back. Right, so I've cleaned that a little bit. Let's give it another go. See what happens. Still resetting. It's a lot better, you can see the colours. I'll just stick it in and out there a few times, I think, and give that another try. No, still not working. Just try moving it back a bit. It could just be that I've not got it quite aligned properly there. No. Nah, it's almost there. Let me give that cart another quick clean with a cotton bud, just bear with me. Nope, it's still not working. It's almost right. That game is almost right now. Not quite sure why. We're still getting that. Let's try. No, very interesting. You know, I'm thinking these are actually American. I'm thinking these are American regions, US region games, because this is, I know that this Marble Madness is American, and if you watch what happens with this, you see the title screen, and then you get the lockout. I'm guessing that's because there's nothing wrong with the slot, but this is an American game. Maybe that's what happens with a lockout chip. That would make sense to me. I really seriously suspect that's the case. I think there's nothing wrong with this. I don't think anything's ever been wrong with this. If I now put the other Mario game back in, so like I say, these are really, all three carts are really clean. I put this one back in, it just works every single time without fail. So, in summary, there's nothing wrong. Let's just load Duck Hunt. Now, it's not going to be able to do anything here, obviously, because I've not got the zapper. Let's just reset that, go back into Mario again. But this works every single time when I switch this, when I take the cart in and out of the Mario. Just these other two carts, and they're both clean. They both do exactly the same thing. And the interesting thing, like I say, is Marble Madness, I know, it's definitely an American game. So that's interesting. I'm just wondering how you do select toggle between 1 and 2 player. That's interesting. A long while since I played Mario. This is one of the games I got working with me emulator. It was quite cool being able to play that. But this is the first time I've played this on actual hardware. Right, well, I decided to do the mod to this to make it region free. So pin 4 there, I'm going to cut that as near as I can down to the bottom of the board. There's different ways of doing this. On reflection, you know, well, initially when I thought about doing this, I thought I was going to remove the chip, put a socket on and bend the leg out and all the rest of it. I can't be bothered, and the reality is, you probably don't need that chip. I could probably remove that completely and do a very small mod to this to remove the reliance on that chip being on the board at all. You might even just be able to physically remove it and it might be alright without it. I ain't got a clue. So yeah, and the other way I thought about doing this is, you might be able to see, try and get as close as I can. Yeah, it was zoomed in pretty much already, wasn't it? To the sort of ideal level, but sort of here, so it's a bit blurry still, that, isn't it? The lighting's not good in here tonight at all. Yeah, that's the 4th pin. You can see this track here. I'm guessing, I'll test with the continuity meter at the moment. I'm guessing there's 5 volts supplied to that pin 4, and just the difference between, you know, cutting it off from the 5 volts and playing ground changes the mode of it. So you could actually probably cut the track, but what I don't know is, because I can't see underneath, the 5 volt might be going somewhere else, maybe to the VCC pin or something of this chip or elsewhere. So it's probably a bad idea to cut the track, and better off actually cutting the pin from the track and then just solder a wire from the nearest ground point, which I'll test for on my meter in a minute, and join it up that way. So that's the approach I'm going to take with this. So there you go, not the most elegant mod, but as you can see, I've lifted pin 4 after chopping it from the board, and I've connected it to the corner pin there, which I've tested continuity to ground on the modulator, so that's got to be ground. So I'll just reassemble that and we'll give those other 2 cars another quick go. So we'll just power it up with tennis in, let's give it a try. There we go. So yeah, I do think that this is an American region game, because this wasn't working no matter what, and it's working, it's a bit like the Mario, it's working every single time now. God, it's been a long time since I played this. This was the first game I saw working on my emulator, and the feeling, I can't explain, it's overwhelming when you've written some code from scratch and you've not really tested it up until that point, and you actually see things on the screen. It wasn't displaying right, I don't think. I think I had the characters flipped round the wrong way, some of the colours were wrong, there was misalignments and stuff, but it was just like a really amazing accomplishment personally to have got to this point where I've managed to emulate one of these systems. That's brilliant. Let's just try Marble Madness, because that one's definitely, sorry, switch off. Marble Madness is definitely an American game. That was doing exactly the same thing, was showing the title screen. Now I haven't cleaned the car, so this one may glitch a bit until I've cleaned it, but it wasn't actually working before, it was resetting with the lockout there, so let's see what this one does. That's looking good. Obviously no resetting. Start, not quite sure where you put your name in. How do you end this now? And 45 degree or 90, I'm not sure how that works, let's just try that one. Alright, okay, so we've got some graphical weirdness going on there. Not sure. It stopped now, stabilised. It's that PAL NTSC thing. I haven't got a clue. So this is the following day. I thought I'd just do a bit of a follow-up on the end of this video here, rather than doing a separate video. I cleaned it all up. Still needs a bit more work. I've only spent sort of 10 minutes giving this a quick wipe down. You can see where the black scratches and things were. They've cleaned up quite a lot. There's still just remnants there, so I'll have another go with the plastic cleaner and that should come up pretty much perfect. But there's barely a mark on this all the way around. It's in incredible condition. It really is. There's barely a scratch or anything. Really pleased. There's a black mark there, you can just see. I'll clean that off. I've not cleaned that yet, not tried to clean that yet. But yeah, this is working fine. And one thing to note is that problem I was having with Marble Madness, just for my own peace of mind, I did a bit of research, and there's a difference. I'm going to strip this down again in a minute just to cover a few things. I want to just check some of the caps and things on it. But there's a difference between the NTSC and PAL versions of this console. Well, there obviously is bound to be, you know, for the different video systems there, and the associated frequency, 50 versus 60 hertz. But what I didn't realise is it's, you know, unlike in a lot of more modern systems, generations of systems that came after this, where you would have jumpers, you know, typically to configure the hardware to, you know, a particular region. You don't get that on the NES. They had a separate CPU and PPU for the PAL and NTSC markets. And I'm not sure whether the NTSC models were probably used in Japan. I'm guessing they probably were. They may have even had another third revision of each of those two chips for the Japanese market. And thinking back to my emulation days, that kind of makes sense, because one of the things I was aware of very early on is that there's a cycle count difference for each H blank, I think, if my memory serves. So you'd have a different number of CPU cycles, per frame, if you like, when it's drawing the screen. And programmers typically did all sorts of weird and wonderful things, making use of that, like changing the palette, changing the sprite bank, using the mapper there. And I think that's the example you seen on previously on Marble Madness, where you get some of the characters at the top, the screen there when it's loading, when it's sort of starting a level, displaying the wrong sprites and things. That's exactly what's going on. There's some timing specific code written in there to change or swap the character bank to display some different sprites, and that's not happening because the timing's out slightly, because this, it's NTSC code running on a PAL CPU and a PAL PPU. So and the whole thing there with them, being separate processors, separate, different revisions of processor and the PPU, means that you can't easily get around it. There's no, I was thinking about this last night. Could I do some sort of mod or something where I adjust the clock speed, on a switch or something? But that wouldn't work, because from what I understand is the NTSC chips run faster. I don't know whether it's 26 megahertz or 24 or something, and I think the PAL ones run at 21 or something similar. I don't know. The figures, don't quote me, those figures are just guesses from what I remember from reading through a few articles last night. But the bottom line is they run at different frequencies, and the sound hardware, the PAPU built into the CPU, is tied into that. So, and that's one of the reasons why sometimes when you play games from different regions on these systems, once you've disabled the 10 NES Lockout chip, you get sound playing extremely fast, not just like a little bit fast, but really, really fast. And it's because of the clock speed differences within the systems versus what the game is expecting to work with, kind of thing. So there's no easy way around that. I can't think of an easy way around that. The only alternative I can think of is having a dual CPU, dual PPU configuration where you can swap between the two, and adjust the clock speed accordingly. But that's, you're better off just having two separate systems, I think. Maybe one day someone will think of a way around that. But I certainly can't think of a way around that, really. That's not mega complex. And I think the other thing that's important to note with that, and I was thinking about the reliability of these things, the PAL systems are an awful lot more reliable in terms of the CPU and PPU. I've been speaking to someone who works in the trade and used to fix a lot of these, and it was seldom, you seldom come across a system where the PPU and CPU failed. It was very, very, very rare to find a failure in either of those chips in a PAL unit. Whereas if you look at the NTSC side of things, just from some of the people I watch on YouTube, there's an awful lot of CPU and PPU failures in the American market. And I can't help but wonder if that's the clock speed, because they run obviously 60 hertz. You've got higher clock speed there, 20 odd megahertz, 25 or 26, 27 megahertz, whatever it is. It's certainly at least 3 or 4 megahertz faster on American machines than it is on British machines, PAL machines, which makes me wonder if that was the cutting edge. The American side was the cutting edge. It was, they were getting 60 hertz out of this. They had a high clock speed there, but then of course, it's not running quite as fast for the 50 hertz market there, the PAL market. So you're kind of just slightly underclocking it, as versus the original die, design and all the rest of it. So that might be why PAL machines are a lot more reliable in terms of the PPU and CPU. I'd be interested to know, other people's experience there, but certainly from the research I've done, and how the videos and things I've been watching over the years, and my friend who used to work in the trade over here on these things, that seems to be the case. It does seem that if you've got a 50 hertz machine, you're less likely to get a PPU or CPU failure. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, I'll tear this down again now, and we'll just measure some of the caps, and we'll have another look at the main board, because there were a few things that I didn't really point out yesterday, including the SRAM chips and stuff. So we'll do that now. So there you go, in daylight here it's looking an awful lot more visible and cleaner and stuff. It's amazing what difference the light makes. So you've got an SRAM there, and an SRAM over here, 74LS373. I think that pretty much covers it. I think we went through most of the other chips yesterday, but you can see, it's looking pretty good. Perhaps just give this the shield and edge there a bit of a wipe down where dust and stuff's got in, but for the most part the board's really clean and stuff. Anyway, so I'm going to have a look at this modulator now. Not sure how easy this is going to be to do. It's stuck out a bit. Probably going to have to desolder that there. I don't know that I'm going to be bothered, to be honest. I don't know if I can be bothered doing that. I might just pull the bottom part of this off if I can. It's like it's just clipped on, and see if I can measure any of the caps from underneath. I'll just see if I can do that now. I don't know whether it's going to just clip off. Is it soldered on anywhere? It doesn't look like it. Looks like it is just a clip-on unit. Yeah, so you can certainly get access there to measure components. You need to know what it is you're looking at though. You can see that beefy cap there. That's just going to be the smoothing cap there for the 5-volt line probably. So you can check that out. That's going to be those two pins there. Lots of surface mount stuff. Didn't expect that. You can see this surface mounted resistors and caps. Very interesting. Right, I've checked that cap, and it's not far off 2,200 microfarad. It's very, very close. So I'm going to leave it. I can't see any other, there might be the odd electrolytic in here, but to be honest, and I've checked these 1 microfarad caps and things on here as well, and they're all okay. So I'm just going to reassemble this now, and I'll give it a clean first, this board, I think. Reassemble it and start playing it, really. It's working really well. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.